back on my Star Wars kick again. Finally got to the Book of Boba Fett. And on this episode of Movie Breakdowns, series review, I'm gonna go ahead and review it. The newest installment of the Star Wars universe, the Book of Boba Fett from 2021. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And before I get started, I'm gonna let you know if there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. And I'm also on Patreon, Patreon/Ali Zakka. For $2 a month, you get the cut in front of everybody, get your review out way before it come out on Facebook and YouTube. And you get to have conversation, much more thoughts, plus trailer reaction, trailer reviews go up on the Patreon. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's episode, 2021's The Book of Boba Fett from Disney Plus and the Star Wars universe. And this review is going to have spoilers in it. Go watch the 7-episode series on Disney Plus. It's about 40 minutes to an hour long for each episode. And what is it about? It's about Boba Fett and Fennec Shand? Probably messed her name up there, but Boba Fett and Fennec are going back to the sands of Tatooine and reclaiming the land that Jabba the Hutt once had. Boba Fett's coming in and taking over the territory and calls up the new daimyo of the area. And not everybody's okay with that. Everybody's coming in trying to stop Boba Fett from taking over and put their own stamp of approval or stamps in the territory and claim the land. And Boba Fett pretty much had to win over everybody to state that this is his land and he's the new leader of the underground world on Tatooine. That's pretty much the gist of Boba Fett. The things that I like Boba Fett. I was cool with the storyline. I was okay with the acting and the CGI and the effects of certain stuff going on. It's just that the thing that didn't work well with me or gel well with me was the first couple of episodes of the series. Of this season. It's not horrible, but it's also not amazing either. It was really meta to me. I was okay, in the middle. And that's probably where my dislike comes in for this. It really was more just, I just felt it was okay, a good watch. Got a little Boba Fett backstory, see how he got out of the monster from episode 6, and you see how he pretty much lived with the Sand people, the Tusken Sand Raiders, how he lived with them, and how he adapted their culture and became one with them. You can see how he survived, and then you can see how he met Fennec, and then, the events of Mandalorian. And in between that backstory we get with Boba Fett, we also get his what he's doing in the present time, trying to state his claim, taking over the chair and saying hey, this is my land now, you follow my rules, and people not agreeing with him. So you see Boba Fett doing this one part of him rising to power, the other half is his backstory. So every time he took a nap or went to sleep, it got his backstory. But then when he's awake, get obligatory action scenes just to wake people up. There's a group of people in here who kind of remind me of Power Rangers, because each person had their own different color scooter, but they're what's the word I'm looking for? Not street rats. I guess a little bit of a small gang that Boba Fett took underneath his wing, and then there's a Wookiee that Boba Fett takes underneath his wing. So you get a ragtag team of people together, and they all come into the very end as a crescendo at the very end with a very big fight sequence for episode 7, which is pretty much an all-out battle. But it wasn't really just, it was okay. It was okay. It was the best way to put it. It was okay. It's something you can watch, but I wasn't looking forward to the next episode. It was just cool, I am fine with this. Until Mando came in. Until Din Djarin came in episode 5, and the show shifts from being a like Boba Fett series to a Mandalorian Part 3. Like I was looking away when the episode started, and I remember hearing the soundtrack for Mandalorian, and I was like, hold on. Looked up and there's Din Djarin. And I'm like, oh, we're going here. And then I was like, okay, it's cool. He maybe has a cameo. Maybe he's just here for a moment, and then, you know, he has to go assassinate Boba Fett. And then you find out, no, it's not about him assassinating Boba Fett. It's a legit, its own storyline in the Book of Boba Fett. Like, it's the whole Mandalorian continuation, and you're like, okay, he's here for the whole episode. Let's go. I'm down for the ride. And then he says Wicked in one episode, and I was like, we're not bringing that back. Sorry, Vader. It's not coming back. But anyway, and then you get the episode where Grogu is training with Luke Skywalker, and you're like, Boba Fett's not really be here, not be seen, can't hear of him, where he's at. This whole show became the Mandalorian Part 3 or Mandalorian 2.5. They get a little reference to Lion King 1.5 there. And to me, I was like, huh. And I peeped up. I got more invested when Mandalorian came on. When Grogu came on, I was more invested in the series. And maybe it's because the storyline between Mandalorian and Grogu is more like authentic and more unique, or it hasn't been done so much in modern day that to me it was like I follow that storyline more from Mandalorian versus when we get the Book of Boba Fett and it was just, you know, rise to power storyline for another guy who's trying to claim the underworld of Tatooine. I don't know. Maybe because I've seen the Book of Boba Fett storyline so much with other shows, and somebody coming in and guy getting ready to believe in him, that he's the one to take over and everybody follows me, that I was like, okay, fine, this is passable. Get the backstory with the present day kind of thing. Seen that before, it's passable, it's fine. When Mandalorian popped in, I was like glued to the TV screen, wanted to figure out what was going on with Mando, like with the whole dark saber and all the other backstory with the other Mandalorians and the creed and all this, and I was like all in. And pretty much 2 episodes of the show made it better for me than majority of the whole series. Like episode 7 is just a pretty much action-packed episode of a fight that happens, and Boba Fett and his ragtag group of Tatooians have to fight off the underlords who try to take out Boba Fett, and that's pretty much what happens. And you see all the things that happen from the first 6 episodes kind of play itself apart in this, where Grogu has a moment to shine, Mando has a moment to shine, the monster that lived under Jabba the Hutt's room that Luke Skywalker took out in the 6th movie, which I don't know the name of the exact monster, but you get to see that monster has a moment to shine. All the people who played a part in the series had a moment to shine. Some people who didn't need to be there end up being there just to have a moment to shine. Like, it was kind of a crescendo of everything that happened for the whole season so far, but it was like action fest. I didn't feel like anybody was gonna die. They would kill somebody. I'd been like, oh my gosh, they actually did it. But no, I felt like they were gonna come out in the end. It was just how they're gonna come out. I didn't think anybody's gonna go out. It was just like how they're gonna win in the end. And yeah, everybody ended up winning. And then you had a guy who was like a cowboy character who I know was in the Clone Wars and I think Rebels and the cartoon animated series, but he makes an appearance in the live action here. And maybe it would have been somebody I would have been invested in as a villain. But the fact is that he gets killed. He shows up in like the 6th episode and dies in the 7th. You're just like, I think that was just pure fan service for those who knew the character, because to me, who I didn't watch the animated series, watching this was like, neat. But yeah, so I think my biggest dislike with the Book of Boba Fett happened to be with the first couple episodes, how it's just okay, and nothing wrong with it. Just to me, like the really pass and back and forth backstory didn't really hit me as much. And then I guess the other big dislike I didn't like was the fact there wasn't really a villain. There wasn't somebody who I can be like, yeah, that person I don't want to see take over. That person I can't get behind. It was just like Boba Fett doing things, and interject actions to have something, but it's like there's not really a face of villain. You had the twins, the Hutt twins, but they kind of like, yeah, we did our thing, we're leaving. And then you had the other people who betrayed Boba Fett, but they showed up in like the last couple episodes as well. So it's not really anybody you can really be like that's a true antagonist to the series. It was just like Boba Fett just moving along from each episode to state that he is the daimyo. I believe he calls it the daimyo. If not, he is the head of the underground at Tatooine, and he's taking over Jabba the Hutt's chair. Like, that's pretty much it. But the likes though, I like the acting, I like the storyline, the soundtrack, the theme song for the show is awesome. I love listening to that. I played it a few times. The character designs, like all that stuff is cool. Everything I like about Star Wars, I got out of it. Like, it was there. It's just okay. It's just okay. Just okay. And sometimes nothing wrong with just being okay. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the cast, directors, writers of the series. So the first and foremost, Jon Favreau created this. He's one of the main writers on every episode, and George Lucas played a part in this as well. The main director is Robert Rodriguez on a few episodes, but like one of my favorite episodes, The Return of the Mandalorian, Bryce Dallas Howard, she worked on this, and a few other people worked on different episodes, but which I think is kind of cool. Each episode had a different director, so that kind of changed it up in different styles. But my favorite one was made by Bryce Dallas Howard, who played in Jurassic World. And the season, like I said, has 7 episodes, each one ranging from 40-something minutes to an hour. The main cast of the show, you have Temuera Morrison, who plays Boba Fett. I feel like he did a great job. I think he does a great Boba Fett. And Boba Fett in this show, which I had a thing, I was at Comic-Con recently, I had a thing where I saw somebody did like a Mount Rushmore Star Wars villain. It was Vader, Lord Sidious, Boba Fett, and I want to say Stormtrooper, maybe not. Somebody else was probably there. But I said, you know what, Boba Fett gets all this hype out, like, being this cool bounty hunter, but reality, when you look at the first 3 movies, 5 and 6. 5 he did some things, but 6 he was in the first half of it and then gets shot up in a jetpack, screams, and then falls into a monster that eats him, and it's like that's really a weak way to go out. And then the TV show actually give Boba Fett some like fearness to him, like this dude is a badass character that shouldn't be messed with. And I feel like the show did a great job bringing Boba Fett to light to show that he's not just a one-note guy. He is one of the best bounty hunters of all time, and he should be feared and he should be revered. And I like how the show does that. Like, I've never felt like Boba Fett was truly in danger watching the show, because I heard of all the great things he can do, and I've seen what he did in The Mandalorian, so it just reinforced the idea that Boba Fett wasn't going to go out like a punk. No matter what happens in the show, he's not going out. And the show showed that more than anything. Multiple times or multiple episodes, you see Boba Fett get stuck in a situation like us, Boba Fett, he'll come out of it one way or another, and he does. Matter of fact, like the quick draw cowboy at the end of the show, Boba Fett takes him out, and the dude's like, I always knew you was a killer, Boba Fett. And Boba Fett's like, stabs him and makes it like kind of face. I'm like, but he's always been a killer. He froze Han Solo. Like, if they didn't bring out Han Solo, would have been dead. Like, Boba Fett has always been a killer. So that mindset of him saying like you can't go clean, like he never say he was going clean. He runs the underground. He's just working for himself now. He's not working for somebody else. So that the writing for that guy at the end of the show didn't really make sense to me. But I thought Boba Fett was cool. Ming-Na Wen, who plays Fennec, I feel like Fennec was good. Like, she was his right hand man to Boba Fett, and she was just as fearsome as Boba Fett. Like, you couldn't take her going lightly, because you know she can kick butt and take names. And I think it was a good like piece for the show to be the second hand man or the right hand man to Boba Fett. Great job there. Pedro Pascal returns as the Mandalorian, which is Din Djarin. He did great as always. Like, he is the Mandalorian for me, Pedro Pascal. And still show that Din Djarin's kind of like not naive, but he thinks he's invincible for the most part of the show. And he finds himself in a situation where like, oh man, he's getting hurt, but he's still fighting through because he's kind of not naive is not the word, but you'd think he'd be smarter at the defense of Mandalorian. But no, he's kicking butt, taking names, still taking battle damage, but he always found a way to get healed. And he pretty much wanted to see Grogu again in the show. But yeah, I thought he did a great job. Sophie Thatcher, who plays Drash, she's in the show. She's like the street punk gang member who works underneath Boba Fett. And for the most part, she has episodes, but like the last episode, they try to make her seem more like an impactful character. And to me, like her and her gang, they was there, but it's more side characters. And I kind of wish the show would have made more emphasis on them. So that way, when you have that moment at the end of the show, it was like, oh, okay, this is good. Like we get invested in these characters. The one guy I will talk about is Carsantin, who played by Kerry Jones. He's a black Wookiee who was like a bounty hunter gladiator himself, and he is pretty impactful. Like he has some moments in the show as well. I just kind of wish like the show would have made more of a backstory on him too, so we got more connection with them. And as I'm thinking about it more and more, the show kind of, and maybe because episode 5 and 6 divert from the Book of Boba Fett, where the Book of Boba Fett kind of takes a vacation almost. But I kind of wish we got more backstory on those characters and more moments where maybe an episode was solely dedicated to Boba Fett getting the Wookiee on his side and they're like going on an adventure kind of thing where you get attached to Carsantin or get attached to Drasher, where having her be more of a focal point and they had to go on a little mission like the Mandalorian did with a few episodes, like with not Bill Murray, I can't think of his name right now, but the comedian in the episode of Mandalorian where him and Din Djarin has to go into a stormtrooper base and you get more backstory about how like stormtroopers feel about what their job is, stuff like that. Like maybe something like that where you get more attached to these characters, so it's not just we're here for a moment, we make some talking, we do this and we go our own way. And last but not least, got to give a shout out to Mark Hamill, who plays a CGI version of himself in this show. He is here, and there's times where they're using the CGI to make a young Luke Skywalker, and you see like they don't show him talking a lot because I guess it costs too much to show the mouth moving and stuff like that. But there's time where you do see Luke Skywalker in his face, and he gives Grogu the opportunity to either stay with me or he can become, a Mandalorian. And Grogu decides the Mandalorian route, which I'm curious to see what that looks like. And I kind of hope Grogu ages up. Like, I'm cool with Grogu, but I kind of wish he ages up. Grogu is in the show. He's still baby Grogu, kind of smarter, a little more force aware, and kind of uses his abilities, but he's still a baby at the end of the day. And his father's Din Djarin, pretty much, and Din Djarin is taking care of baby Grogu, who's now Mandalore. So those are the characters and cast I want to talk about. Any other thoughts? Not really. The soundtrack for the theme song, I should say, for the show is amazing. That theme song played at the end of every episode. I listen to the after show credits all the time because that soundtrack was so good. But the show soundtrack was fine. It was good stuff. The Mandalorian thing kicks in, you know immediately like who's gonna be on TV and stuff of that nature. But that's about it. Any other thoughts for the Book of Boba Fett? No, everything else I think is fine. It's a solid show. It's just, to me, it didn't really bring anything new to the table. It was just like something here's, a burger to pass your time. It's something you go to, the usual, that doesn't really, it doesn't disappoint, but it doesn't impress either. It's fine. And you're like, I'm okay with this. I'm happy with the show. Is this a binge-worthy show? Nah, I didn't even binge watch it myself. Like, I was watching it and I kind of put it down, came back. It took me 3 weeks to finish a 7 episode show. Granted, each episode is like 40 minutes an hour, so you're investing an hour of your time, and you really think about it, it's like watching 3 movies back to back to back. Take it back, like watching 2 movies back to back to back. No, three. Yes, like watching 3 movies. Each movie's about 2 hours long, so you think about it, you watch 7 episodes straight, watching 2 movies or 3 movies back to back to back. So it wasn't binge worthy for me. It didn't like keep me to come back. Like, I gotta watch the next episode, see what happened. Until Mandalorian came in, I was like, oh my gosh, gotta watch the next episode. All the other ones, I was like, oh, it's fine. Grading time. I'm gonna give The Book of Boba Fett from 2021 a solid C. It's a 75% for me. A C grade. The reason why, because I did enjoy the characters, I did enjoy the storyline, I did enjoy the design and look at everything, the world of Star Wars getting advanced. I was all about that. The color and design of everything was fine. The Mandalorian episode and the Grogu episode really popped out for me, where I was like, oh my gosh. But majority of it was kind of like, it's okay. It's okay. The first 5 episodes of the show don't really hold me in as much. The backstory going back and forth between Boba Fett and the Tusken Raiders and the Sand People, their backstory and going back and forth between that and the present day didn't really gel with me. Like it was times where I was like, okay, it's fine. It's kind of cool to see how he got out and how he survived. But other times it was like, oh, present day, And then since we didn't really have a main villain in the show to really like latch onto, it really didn't give me like a reason to like invest to see how Boba Fett are gonna overcome this challenge. It was just like, all right, he's gonna take over and see what happens, and people are gonna go against him, of course. But like, there's nobody. I felt like Boba Fett was actually in danger, and those are like the reasons why like I give it a C. It's fine. It's not bad, but it's not amazing either. It's definitely. It's watchable, and it's definitely something to pass the time, and it's a solid show that's just fine. So that's my dislike to my likes. The Book of Boba Fett gets a C for me. That's a 75%. IMDb gives Book of Boba Fett a 7.4%. Sorry, 7.4 out of 10, which is a C. Like right where about 75% is, and then Rotten Tomatoes give it a 68%, which is a D+, and the fans give it a 59%, which is an F. So, the fans didn't like it as much, or the audience didn't like it as much as the critics. But that's why I said that, 75% for the Book of Boba Fett. If you've seen the Book of Boba Fett, what do you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode movie breakdown series review, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode movie breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.